Alright, here we go. Um, we're gonna talk about Friday Night SmackDown. We're gonna talk about the Hall of Fame, and then we'll talk about WrestleMania 42 predictions for Night 1 and Night 2. I am Jacob Cass, 2024. Hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, thank you for all the support. Let me know in the comment section below if y'all want to see more. This video was sponsored by JD from New York, Salamanca Sound Off, Fightful Pro Wrestling, and other podcasts I know of, like Joe Cronin, Good Might Work Commentary. This live stream was like an hour and 10 minutes. We are going to talk about SmackDown, and then we are going to talk about. I think I may watch the Hall of Fame and see the Hall of Fame and who's in it. And then we'll talk about SmackDown. SmackDown sucked. It was a massive snooze fest. Nothing happened on your go home show because the World WrestleMania is finally here. Now, the red carpet special. Alright, so this show stunk. Go home snooze fest. Now, I will show you what happened on SmackDown tonight. SmackDown was the show opened up. Well, actually, first they had the WrestleMania kickoff. That was earlier. I think that was at 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock, where the wrestler came out and they had their face setting up their message for tomorrow and Sunday. Now, after Friday Night SmackDown, the show opened up with Randy Orton. He came out, kind of promo, said Randy Orton let loose on Cody Rhodes. Now, there was no Pam McAfee on the show, just Randy Orton coming out. Then we had a weird segment with Dan Hudson ruined the Miz and Maurice's wedding. I don't know why they had this wedding segment. That was just awful. Dan Hudson like a comedy joke. I don't think he's been in the ring yet. Roy Key's emotional journey to WWE. The first match that opened the show outside the Orton segment was the MSCs versus the Wyatt Sith. Hopefully the feud's over, we can move on. The MST take down Wyatt Sith in an 8-man street fight. I think Solo pinned Uncle Howdy. And after the match was over, I think they're teasing some dissension with Tamatanga and Solo Sikoa. We'll see what happens there. But I hope the feud's over. No more of this garbage and this shit feud with the two dead fasting. The Wyatt Sith are pretty much losers. The MSTs are nobody. The only person entertaining is Solo. I wonder though, they might tease something with Solo and Roy Key, since they teased that a couple weeks ago. We'll see what happens there. Jacob Fatu came out, cut a pretty good promo. There was no Drew on the show, but he came out in a police car with two police officers. Obviously, they talked about his criminal history, how he's a felon. He came out kind of pretty decent promo. Came out and said he promised it to bury Drew McIntyre. Clearly setting up for a 5-2 victory, but we'll get into those predictions later. We also got Damian Priest and R-Truth. They defeated Kofi Kingston and Grayson Waller. Kind of weird that the New Day's not on TV. Xavier was hurt. It's just Kofi and Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller's not doing anything. Doing the New Day. Now Damian Priest and R-Truth they were doing the John Cena 5 News for Doom Final Shuffle. Kind of weird that Damian Priest not on WrestleMania. We did get a face-to-face with Rhea Ripley and Jay Cardell. Rhea confronted Jay Cardell. They changed words. They had a bit of a brawl here. Tiffany Stratton defeated Jordan Gray to become the Women's U.S. title. Kind of weird that Tiffany Stratton not on WrestleMania, and the Women's U.S. Champion not being defended again on WrestleMania. Why should it be the shit title? Don't do anything with it. Julie hadn't done shit with it. kind of sucked that Tiffany's not on WrestleMania. That they don't have any plans for her. We had a segment with Sami Zayn and Jinder Mahal. I'm sorry, Trick Williams and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn got a little bit booed apparently, because he's been that annoying babyface on TV, and getting kind of repetitive really. But they did have a gingerbread that came out for Sami Zayn entrance. Then Sami came out. Then him and Trick Williams, they went back and forth. Crowd booed a little bit for Sami Zayn. They were getting behind Trick Williams, even though he's a heel. We didn't see a little Yahtzee. I don't think we saw Colonel Hayes in the show either. Trick Williams bought Sami Zayn with gingerbread outfit. Now Sami took out that gingerbread, and then Trick took out Sami and weighed the U.S. title. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus Bayley and Lyra. Now this match was decent, and in the DQ because Lash Legend and Nia Jax got involved, and they beat up everybody. As for the Andre Giant Battle Royal, Joe Hendry was in the Battle Royal. He made his first SmackDown match on the show. Roy Key was in it. Sami Zayn, who kicked the gingerbread man. Yeah, so Roy Key won the Battle Royal. Yeah, so
Jim, we still close on time? Oh, I know.
Come on now.
Will it clear on schedule?
I want to show you all these
podcasts.
podcasts.
Before 2003, but no, I mean, no, if you're talking like 06,
like from 2000 to 2000, insane. Basically.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I mean, bro, no, it's like, yeah, it's Pedro. It's
something about how it has never clicked. I don't think the look is good. I like you have such an opportunity, not to involve it with
WrestleMania, and he was dressed up. He even had a little bow tie because they're going straight to the Hall of Fame.
Listening to their voices in his head and all of that, and reclaiming the Viper, and they're not so sure about Cody be on the other side, and
Very much in ring tonight at all. But Great Cherry saying a 2-liter of Pepsi is a bigger pop than I heard tonight. Damn. Maybe a 20.
The red carpet special.
This is
Here's the WWE Hall of Fame. Come on now. The goddamn commercial, man, so annoying.
When you have the smartest Wi-Fi from Xfinity, you can seamlessly stream WWE.
It's about to start.
My gosh, man.
Making your home the main event.
WWE.
Xfinity. Imagine that.
Looks like we're the main event.
Let's go, baby.
Come on now.
Call back to radar. Get tickets now.
We are honoring
The Big E.
so I'm gonna my composure, keep calm, relax. He actually, you're not a nerd. Stay up, sleepovers. You'll be up till 3 a.m.
Now, SmackDown ended with a Cody Rhodes and CM Punk segment. Surprisingly, CM Punk was on SmackDown. Had their favorite Cody Rhodes. They congratulate each other, talk about their accomplishments.
Terribly exciting show. Crowd.
I don't know what the hell that teasing, but teasing something.
Especially, I think the flattest they sounded was that tag team match that never really got off the ground. It was supposed to be Lyra and Bayley and Charlotte
Oh wait, hold on.
and Alexa, and that whole thing was like, my God, crowd. This does not seem like a show one night before your big show, but it is. And we had final messages being delivered to bookend the show by Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. Randy would open up the show here. He would arrive. Now, this was interesting. Now, Randy arrived to the arena in the truck with Pat McAfee. They're greeted by Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis has got what looks to be a contract. And he says, here you go, guys. I've got it all drawn up just the way you asked. Here's the agreement. Pat McAfee looks at it, and at first he's like, oh, I'm going to have to take a look at this. There's a lot of pages. And Randy's like, hey, it looks like you guys got this. I'm going to go to the ring if it's okay and say a few words. And they're like, yeah, have at it. And then McAfee just decides to sign the contract. So he signed, is that the match contract? Is that Pat's contract? So Pat McAfee signed a contract to open the show without reading it. And the first thing I thought of was the report that Randy Orton is going into this WrestleMania a little injured or hurt. We don't know how bad. This is a report that came up in the last day or two, that apparently he is hurt. We don't know what's hurt, what caused it to hurt, and why it hurts. But something's hurt. Now, if this injury, whatever's hurting on him, is severe enough that it's going to threaten him having a run as champion, they might need to figure out a way now to change their finish. I mean, Randy, it seemed like, was going to win the title here. He was going to get his 15th. If for some reason they feel like he can't win the title now because of this injury, and they've got to change the finish to Cody retaining. But Pat McAfee, as we remember, when he debuted, he made that statement on social media saying, I will not, I'll never show up again in pro wrestling if Randy Orton doesn't win the title. So if Cody now wins, then McAfee's going to be essentially gone. So maybe this contract is a way to kind of fix that situation. Like if they've painted themselves or booked themselves into a corner, and McAfee is like, I'm going to completely disappear from the wrestling space if Randy Orton loses, and now they're in a situation creatively where he has to lose. You know, I still think that McAfee signing the contract without looking is going to be something that's going to harm him, not help him. So my theory is maybe that contract is a way to keep him around if Randy Orton can't win the title, but probably not, because I think this is going to be something that's going to wind up screwing him over. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone through the trouble of having him sign an agreement that he didn't read if it's not going to mean something. So let me know whatever you think that might be, and whatever the fuck that was when he signed when they first got to the arena. But then Randy Orton went out to the ring to cut a promo. And, you know, very standard stuff here. You know, nothing that he hasn't already said. And he talked again about Cody Rhodes. He seemed really deeply offended, and seems offended, by Cody Rhodes giving him permission to be himself. Like, the nerve of this guy, the fucking balls, the gall of him, to give me permission to be myself. Nobody gives me permission, you know, to be myself. He says that Cody takes and takes and takes, and he doesn't give anything. And back a couple of years ago, when he needed some help against Roman Reigns in the final boss, he called Seth Rollins, not Randy Orton. So he took offense to all that stuff and said his piece, leaves the ring, gets back in the truck with Pat McAfee in the back of the arena, and they speed away right before Pat McAfee calls us all a bunch of marks. Says, see you tomorrow, marks. So we'll see. What do you think was that contract was about? I mean, is it just the match agreement? And why would McAfee be the one to sign it, not Randy Orton? Is it McAfee's agreement? Is it McAfee's talent agreement? Is it the agreement that states if Orton loses, McAfee's gone? Whatever that was, he didn't look at it. He just signed it, so that's got to play a role into whatever the hell they're doing tomorrow. And plus, with Randy and Cody, you got to wonder if there's going to be more than McAfee. Feels like there's probably not. I'm not expecting The Rock or any sort of major other swerve with that in terms of somebody else getting involved, but it's possible. I've kind of given up hope on major crazy things happening. I mean, after last year, we thought we were going to see, you know, if for sure The Rock and Travis Scott, if not both, maybe even some more players, and it was the exact opposite of the WrestleMania 40 main event, where it was overbooked, bonkers madness, and this was just Travis Scott and that fucking song for 30 minutes straight in the main event. So maybe this year is something in the middle of last year and WrestleMania 40, but we will see. Right now, I'm not going to change my prediction. We did predictions yesterday, by the way, big 2-hour-long prediction stream where we talked about Darby Allin's AEW Championship win, and we predicted both nights of WrestleMania. And I'm going to stick with my pick of Randy Orton picking up number 15, but it is a little bit, I am a little bit unsure due to some of the reports that we've read and whatever the hell that thing is that Pat McAfee signed. So, we will see. Damn, Coco, 5 a.m. for you for the Hall of Fame. Holy shit. Yes, the Mania set is up. If you guys didn't see that, WWE did unveil the WrestleMania set. I don't know if it's better or worse than last year. It looks pretty cool. Last year's looked great, so I don't know if it's necessarily better, but it looked okay. They invited a bunch of YouTube content creators to all film it as the sea of like 100 phones filming the fucking thing. But the stadium's not even filled in yet with the seats on the floor and stuff. It was just kind of the set, and apparently they had less than a week to put all of this together, so they got it up pretty quick there. After Randy Orton's promo, our first match of the night was the Wyatt Six versus the MFTs. This appeared to finally be the blow-off. This was an 8-man street fight. So basically anything goes here. The finish sees Tama Tonga basically has Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas, in position to finish him off, and Solo comes in and cuts him off and hits the Samoan spike onto Howdy and pins him, essentially finally ending this long, ridiculously stupid feud between these two factions, and now they're focusing more on the dissension within the MFTs. So now with the Wyatts being done, they've got their lantern back. Neither one of these teams are tag team champions anymore, and the MFTs got the better of the Wyatt Six. You know, in this blow-off, I don't really know what you do with the Wyatt Six from here. And I made a prediction a couple of podcasts ago, and it's not a prediction that I take any joy in making. So I'm just saying it. I'm not trying to be mean-spirited or anything like that at all. But I don't think the Wyatt Six are going to be around in a year. I think some of them are going to get released, and I think the faction itself is not going to still be around 1 year from now. And I'm starting to think it's going to be way quicker than that. But I think eventually, you know, you're going to get like a Dexter Loomis release, and you know, probably a Rowan one, and they might keep Bo Dallas around. But this, you know, Wyatt Six faction, it's had its moments, but largely just been nah. You know, I just haven't really liked it. I loved the concept of it, the brainchild of it, the tribute to Bray Wyatt. You know how much time and energy they put into this group. You know, but it has the same exact type of problems that Bray Wyatt did. It's just almost too weird, and you don't kind of know how to book things like that, entities like that. And I feel like they're suffering from the same thing. So I kind of feel like the Wyatt Six experiment needs to end. When did they debut? When was that Raw segment where Chad Gable got like murdered? Was that like 2 years ago? How many years? No, Bray Wyatt passed away in 2023, so 2.5 years ago he passed away. So it's probably just been about a year and a half, maybe. I don't even remember when the Wyatts debuted, but I don't have any interest in them. You know, we'll see if there's a shake-up here. We'll see if they move them to Raw, but even if they do, I feel like they'll just copy and paste what they did here with MFTs. They'll find a group to feud with, and they'll just feud for 8 months. Not compelling enough TV. This was cool. We had a police car showing up in the T-Mobile Arena. You hear the sirens going off. He drives in, and out of the back seat pops Jacob Fatu, the perp. Hops on top of the car and cuts a promo on Drew McIntyre. You know, and takes offense to McIntyre really harping on his past. You know, the fact that he has done some time, the fact that he has had legal problems and run-ins with the law when he was younger. And he said that he doesn't live that life no more, and he says even that this is my favorite line of the whole night. Even the popo no, I ain't the same man no mo. I loved that. Even the popo no, I ain't the same man no mo. I'm going to use that if I can. I don't know how I would apply that into my life, but if I ever see an opportunity to deliver that line, even the popo no, I ain't the same man no mo, I will say it. I just don't know where or when I will say it. But anyway, Jacob, a little more subdued promo at first, you know, wasn't quite as insane and as intense as he always is. Very serious, looks like he means business, especially after what happened to him last week, with McIntyre really putting a hurting on him. You know, it looks like he is, you know, going into this match with a different mentality. He's not just the same Jacob. He is a little bit more focused, and he's not just completely off the wall. He's going to go nuts in the match, and I think Drew is going to be in some trouble. You know, he's not going to want to feel the wrath of Jacob, but his more, I guess, just his subdued or more subdued demeanor here, I think was trying to illustrate, you know, intensity and seriousness. And he's still Jacob, though. Loved standing on the car, loved his gear. that was a tough one to pick. We did the predictions yesterday, and I wasn't completely confident about my Jacob Fatu pick, but I feel like based on what happened to him last week, plus this promo, we didn't even see Drew McIntyre tonight unless they ran a vignette for him. So I still feel like Jacob's probably going to be the man tomorrow, but it's an unsanctioned match. It's likely to get very violent, and hopefully it is. Like I said, I want them to get really, really creative when they have these type of matches on WrestleManias. A regular ass unsanctioned match, regular ass last man standing match, anything like that. Do your typical finishes or your standard stuff. But for WrestleMania, when you have a match with a stipulation like this, I want to see them get creative. I want to see a police car get involved here or be a part of this. This looked like a WrestleMania entrance. Remember Dominic in the paddy wagon a couple years ago? So maybe Jacob will get another special entrance at Mania involving a cop car. Maybe the finish involves a cop car, like with Drew going through the window of the back seat and into the back seat like the perp he is, and then Jacob cuffs him and they drive him away. I don't know, but I'm feeling good about my Jacob pick based on this promo. It was pretty cool. See a cop car in there. Jacob cutting the promo on a po-po car. Fun stuff. Damian Priest and R-Truth, they successfully defended their tag team titles against Kofi Kingston and Grayson Waller. So still no Xavier Woods. Now that Soraya's coming back, I would assume Xavier's making sure all of his cameras are working. And so you got to do that, you know. But not much to say about this match. Priest and Truth got the win. Whatevs. Moving on. Then we get Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill's final little face-off here before WrestleMania. Jade was out first with her baddies. Out comes Rhea. They get in the ring, you know, and it's just your typical face-off, much like Randy's dialogue, much like Jacob's, and much like we would see from Cody. Nothing new here, really. It seems like maybe there's a glimmer more of respect between the two than there was when they first, you know, began the feud. But that whole Twitter beef and everything that was going on right at first, they never played into any of that for the rest of the build. It's been your pretty standard stuff for the most part between them. And they were right in each other's face here. No physicality. Neither woman backed down. And both women vowed that they would beat the other at WrestleMania. Now, up until my predictions on Thursday, I kind of was thinking that I was going to be picking Rhea Ripley, you know, to win. And then I just got thinking more about it. And even though I feel like WWE would put Ripley over Jade in a normal situation, you know, Jade's got her baddies. Ripley does have Io Sky, who I think will be a part of this. But at some point, we're going to have to get another Ripley and Io Sky match, and they cannot be completely in love with each other forever. And it's going to be the entire booking. He brings his own disappointing to run back the Brock Lesnar and Obafemi contract signing from the previous week when it didn't get signed. Brock comes out first. You got, I think, Pierce and Levesque are both in the ring again. This time they kind of come out separately. So Brock comes out first, just immediately signs the contract, and then gets his ass out of there. Then, like a couple of matches later, Oba comes out, and he signs the contract. Liv Morgan, I'm sure she wants to break into Hollywood too. They all want to. They are really waiting. Some of their in-ring encounter are women's matches. So 7 matches on Arabia. That's funny. So you could do that. You could have Undertaker announce that scene women's matches. So 7 matches on night 1 with 3 of them Arabia. That's funny. So you could do that. You could have Undertaker announced be tag team champions. Something fun. Also, one thing that we haven't seen a ton of in WrestleManias over the past few years is some of the more fun backstage type of stuff. The segments. We need more segments. Now, obviously, you don't want a ton of segments. We complain a lot when we have a 3-hour Raw with 3 matches on it because there's so many segments. I'm not saying have the show dominated by segments, but you know what I'm talking about. There used to be a time where you would have little impromptu things happen in the ring. You know, WrestleMania 32 with like Shawn and Foley and Austin coming out to brawl with whoever. You had The Rock coming out there, lighting his name on fire, beating Eric Rowan in 5 seconds, and him and John Cena taking out the Wyatt family. Or you go backstage and you see Hulk Hogan and Mr. T and Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff reuniting 30 years after the WrestleMania match. Me and Gene Okerlund getting it on in the broom closet with Mae Young and Fabulous Moolah. You know, maybe a couple of rivals who haven't seen each other in 20 years. Or maybe a couple of stars on your roster that haven't yet had that confrontation. You know, like if Obafemi and Brock Lesnar were not facing on this show and they both had different opponents, I would have the two of them come head-to-head backstage. You know, like how you create some of those Rumble moments. You would do some of that stuff backstage, behind the scenes. So, you know, a little bit more of that might be nice for WrestleMania, just to have one little impromptu type of thing. I guess at 39 they kind of did it right when Shane McMahon came out, but that whole thing went to hell because he blew out his fucking quad or knee or whatever. So having surprises, you know, parts of the show that we weren't expecting, almost like an extra match being tacked on. You know, that's why maybe Io Sky could find her way into a match somehow if, you know, they wanted to do something impromptu. Or maybe Tiffany Stratton, you know, jumped in the ring and said, "This is bullshit. I came out of a fucking Barbie box last year. Now I'm not even on the show. Io Sky, you're not on the show either. Get your ass out here. Let's have a match," you know. Something like that we weren't expecting might be fun, but I'm not holding my breath. But it will be interesting to see what John Cena is wearing, what his entrance is like, and, you know, what his demeanor is like, and if he's going to be in the ring with anybody else, interacting with anybody else, and, you know, maybe even the very slight possibility that there could be some physicality. We will have to see. But let's get into the matches. Let's start with the one right there on night one. This is the 6-man tag team match. It is the Vision tag team champions Logan Paul and Austin Theory teaming up with I Show Speed to take on Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and LA Knight. I did see the Jey Uso thing today where he was on some podcast and they were talking, looked to be all work, but, you know, he was, I don't even know, he was on a podcast and the guy's giving him shit and then Jay jumps up and attacks him. I think this is all just WrestleMania stuff. No idea who that guy is. Even forgot his name. Not Lil Yachty, but I don't know, somebody like that. So just on a podcast, little scuffle broke out. I watched it for 10 seconds and moved on to the next thing. I didn't even care, but I did see that for those of you wondering. In terms of who wins this, I like I Show Speed, you know, but he's a heel here. On Raw, it felt like he was kind of more embracing it, you know, where before he was kind of a reluctant participant in this. Didn't feel like he was really trying to screw over the Usos or LA Knight. But now it feels like he's a little bit more of a game player. I still got to go baby faces here. This apparently is opening up night one, I think is what they said. So I'm going to go baby faces. I'm going to go Jey Uso, or I'm going to go the Usos and LA Knight to win the 6-man match there. I don't think we're going to see anything too crazy there, but I Show Speed, who is a hell of an athlete, you know, hopefully he can do something entertaining in this match, and I'm going to go baby faces to win there. Women's tag team titles on the line. This is Nia Jax and Lash Legend. They are going to be defending against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Lyra Valkyria and Bayley, and possibly the Bella Twins. We still do not know the status of Nikki Bella. I have not seen if there's any updates today. Maybe you guys know. I don't give a shit if she is in this match or not. A couple of months ago, when the Bellas came out on Raw and they announced that they are going to be going after the tag team titles, I was convinced the minute those words came out of their mouth that they absolutely would win the championships. And I could envision them winning it in a multi-team deal where they can win the title without having to be in a one-on-one match or a tag team match, standard tag team match, where they're overmatched by a stronger team, like Nia and Lash, or like Ripley and Io. But based on some of their in-ring encounters since Brie Bella has come back and some of the stinkers they've had on TV, I'm sorry, they cannot win the tag team titles. They are so bad. They're just bad. They're awful. I just don't think they should be tag team champions. So I'm going to go with Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. Even though they got the win on Monday, or Lyra did, right? She beat Charlotte, I think? Even though they got the win there, they've been mentioning a lot lately what happened to Bayley last year, getting screwed over. And I thought Bayley and Lyra were going to be heading for a big split. I suppose that could still happen in this match, but I think it might be more of a story if Bayley and Lyra actually won the tag team championships. So I'm going with Bayley and Lyra to pick up the tags here. You can put them on Charlotte and Alexa Sure, Nash or Nia and Lash. I really, really like and would be perfectly fine with them dominating and retaining here. But I feel like Bayley and Lyra is what they're going to do. So I'm going to go with new champs to be crowned. Becky Lynch challenging AJ Lee for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. This match has been on the WrestleMania radar ever since AJ Lee came back, ever since WrestlePalooza, and now we're finally getting it. AJ beat Becky Lynch for the title, of course, in Chicago, and now she's going to be defending against Becky. Becky already a two-time Intercontinental Champion, and I actually think she will become a three-time. I think Becky will win the belt back here. I'd be fine, again, like I said, if AJ retained, but AJ is very, very part-time. She's not on TV a lot. She's not going to be having a ton of title defenses, and she's not a full-time performer. So they gave her the title. The feud with Becky now culminating. Hopefully this will be the blow-off, unless they want to do another stipulation at Backlash, stick them in a cage or something. I feel like Becky should get the title back here. If she does not, then I think she gets it back at Backlash, but I would just put the belt back on Becky Lynch here. I don't know how they're going to do it, what kind of finish they're going to do, but I think Becky should win back the Intercontinental Championship, so that is what I am predicting. This one's interesting. Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre. Now, this is going to be an unsanctioned match. These guys are going to really beat the hell out of each other, I feel like. Since it's unsanctioned, this makes, I wouldn't say the prediction easier, but it makes me less worried about someone suffering from the loss. Because in an unsanctioned match with no rules, you can get really, really creative if you want to. You can be lazy if you want to as well. See Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose from WrestleMania 32. Or you can be really creative. I feel like this has got to be Jacob Fatu's match to win, but then again, McIntyre was just WWE champion. He was just champion. And he has also been adamant, still bringing this up, that he is not the one that attacked Jacob Fatu backstage. A lot of people feel like it might turn out to be Randy Orton who did that. But Jacob, I feel like, will benefit from the win more than McIntyre. Jacob, of course, had the big win last year, winning the U.S. title, I believe, at WrestleMania. The only reason I'm hesitant is because I don't know how many times you can just keep giving Drew the shit end of the stick. But I also think you gotta put over Jacob here. And I think they can do that in a way that protects Drew because of the unsanctioned stipulation. So I'm going to go reluctantly Jacob Fatu, or not reluctantly, I'm going to pick him, but I'm not super confident about it. I definitely think it could go Drew McIntyre's way as well, especially if they do some sort of a story beat here in the match where it's revealed that McIntyre was not the one who attacked Jacob. If they want to dust off, you young kids out there, get your Googles ready. If they want to dust off GTV, and you can have McIntyre and Jacob in the ring, the bell is about to ring for them to beat the shit out of each other, and then up on the Tron, glitches, and then up comes GTV, showing security camera footage of Jacob Fatu's assailant, and it was not Drew McIntyre. You can show who it is if you want, or you can not. You can just show and prove that it wasn't Drew. It could turn out to be Randy. Maybe you can show that after the match. Maybe you can show that next week on SmackDown, but I feel like that's going to come out. That's why I feel like McIntyre has a legit shot to win this match as well and actually beat Jacob, especially if it's revealed that he was not his attacker. It would feel weird if Jacob won. I'm still going to go Jacob. I think that's a big win for him. It reminds me of 39, when I was there in LA watching Gunther beat McIntyre and Sheamus like that. And he put down McIntyre in that match. So Jacob Fatu, I'm going to go with him to win, even though I'm a little bit uncomfortable about it. I'm just realizing this now. I wonder if I want to change one of my picks. I might want to change one of my picks. I might want to change the four-way tag match. I don't know. I'm going to keep everything as is. I'm just realizing now I got 4 fucking title matches. Or I'm sorry, 4 title changes on night 1 here. Basically, every championship on the line, I have changing hands. And that includes Stephanie Becerra defending her Women's World Championship against Liv Morgan. I think Liv is going to win. I think Liv's going to win the belt back here. Stephanie has had a good lengthy run. It's not like she just won the belt or anything. Plus, the whole reason she won it was kind of because Naomi got pregnant. Liv winning here, I could see being a very big possibility. However, I could also see Raquel Rodriguez or Roxanne Perez getting involved here and screwing Liv Morgan over. But as great as Stephanie is, I think there's more story with Liv being the champion, because she has not only history with Stephanie Becerra now, a very violent history, but there also are some issues between her and Raquel that go all the way back to the Royal Rumble that haven't really been addressed yet, and also Roxanne Perez. So if Liv Morgan wins the title here, I would think that one of my earliest picks to win the women's Money in the Bank would be one of those 2 women, Roxanne Perez or Raquel Rodriguez. And if one of them wins the Money in the Bank and Liv is your champion, that could create some interesting situations backstage. Now, Money in the Bank is way late in the year. I think it's like late August or something like that, right? Isn't it? It feels like it's late. Or maybe it's July. Whatever it is, it's late. So Morgan being champion, she might not be champion that long by the time we get to Money in the Bank. But I still feel like she's got that new song. Liv Morgan is very popular right now. She's got a lot of buzz surrounding her name. She's come back strong from that injury. She basically was able to maintain her momentum coming out of that injury. And I think she's the right choice here to beat Stephanie Becerra. So I'm going to go Liv Morgan to win the Women's World Championship from Stephanie. Seth Rollins and Gunther. My God, this one's going to be good. Like we said, it could be a show-stealing match. I really enjoyed the segment between the 2 of them on Monday night. I thought they did an excellent job of selling this match that really wasn't going to happen, until circumstances, injury circumstances, kind of forced them to. I hear him, I just don't see him. Tito was trying to get in. So they did a great job on Monday night of selling this situation. Now, Gunther also has been alluding to a favor. So WWE loves rehashing shit they just did. So we just had the whole favor thing last year, year before, whatever it was. So now we're doing the favor thing again. Gunther apparently is doing this as a favor to Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman is going to be expected to repay this favor when the time is right. I think a lot of us feel like this is going to be some sort of a segue into the Gunther and Brock stuff whenever that happens. So in terms of Rollins and Gunther, I got to go Gunther. Specifically for one reason. Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker was supposed to face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. Braun Breaker, from what we understand, is probably ready to come back, but he wasn't ready to come back in enough time to give this match the proper build. So maybe they just decided, let's just wait until after WrestleMania. Gunther and Seth, I feel like, will legitimately be a one-off. I don't think this is going to be a program. I think this is to give both of these top stars a match at WrestleMania, because that's what they deserve. I just wish they would have had the same consideration for fucking Io Sky and Carmelo Hayes. Just give them something, and Tiffany for that matter. Like, Rollins and Gunther, to me, looks like WWE looking at 2 of these male roster members, major ones, and saying, we can't have WrestleMania without them. Why couldn't they have done the same thing with Tiffany and Io? You just do the same thing. She doesn't have a match, and she doesn't have a match. Let's just figure out some dumb way to put them together. You did it for Seth and Gunther. Why can't you do it for them? Why can't you give them the same consideration? Just a question I have. But anyway, Gunther's going to win this because Braun Breaker is going to show up. Braun Breaker's coming out here. Braun Breaker is going to come out and help Gunther beat Seth Rollins. That way you can jump right into Braun Breaker and Rollins, and they can have that program that they were supposed to have before before Breaker herniated himself. So I've got Braun Breaker returning here in this match to help Gunther not only beat Rollins, but then to set Breaker and Rollins on their path. And then Gunther can now be on his path to getting that repayment of the favor that Paul Heyman now owes him. So I've got Gunther going over Rollins with Braun Breaker making his return. And that leaves us with the main event of night one. Cody Rhodes defending the WWE World Championship against Randy Orton, who will have Pat McAfee in his corner. Now, there were some reports coming out today that Randy Orton is a little hurt going into WrestleMania. Not emotionally hurt, physically hurt. We don't have any details on what is hurting, why it's hurting, or what caused it to be hurting. We have no idea. Orton's old, getting up there in age. He's going to have wear and tear. He's going to have nagging injuries. He's going to have issues all old guys do. Hopefully, this is not bad enough to where they have to actually alter the finish of how this match is going to go. So the best I can do is predict this as if Randy Orton is completely healthy and as if these reports never came out today, because I don't know how or if that's going to affect the situation. You can't really predict that, but you can predict the match. So assuming that Randy Orton is fine, he's got to win, right? I feel like he's got to win. I feel like Cody is going to have something similar happen to him here that happened to him last year with John Cena. Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll are both going to be a part of this. I don't think Jelly Roll has been officially announced to be in Cody's corner yet, but he'll probably be at ringside, sitting in the front row. He'll hop the barricade, get involved somehow. Also, you got to remember that Pat McAfee did that social media video that said, where he said that if Randy Orton loses, he will disappear from the wrestling space. But that doesn't feel like that's something that's going to happen. It feels like WWE, TKO specifically, wants to keep Pat McAfee around because of all the ESPN crossover stuff. And as predicted, as we all kind of had a feeling would happen after McAfee stole Cody's title belt last Friday, we had a feeling Cody would crash the Pat McAfee podcast and take his belt back, which he did, but apparently he did after hours, trashed the set and stole his belt back, so we knew that was happening. So if they have to change the outcome, if the plan was for Randy to win the title, but now Randy is injured, and they've decided not to put the belt on him now, we've got to... I keep hearing Tito. They got to figure out how to undo the McAfee thing, unless McAfee really is going to disappear. They just brought him in for this 3 weeks to be right in the middle of this main event situation, and then after the match he's just going to disappear again. That seems like it's unlikely, because we've heard reports of that big backlash tag between McAfee and Randy and Cody and Jelly Roll. Obviously that would be in jeopardy if Randy Orton is injured, but if Randy Orton is injured to a point where he can work through the injury and it's nothing that's going to force him to take time off, he can just work injured, and still become champion, and just be careful with him during his run, and the backlash match can still happen. So assuming that Randy Orton's injury or whatever's bothering him or plaguing him does not affect the outcome of this match, then I got to go Randy Orton somehow to win the title here, which would put Cody, at 3 big WrestleMania losses to his 1 big one, championship losses, losing at 39, 41, and 42, but having that great moment at 40. So you're going to be having Cody lose again. Also, this is the 4th straight WrestleMania main event that they have creatively fucked with. At 39, it was Vince's call to have Roman go over. At 40, Rock got involved and screwed all that shit up. Last year, it was The Rock again and the Travis Scott stuff. And now this year, they've inserted Pat McAfee. So they cannot help themselves with Cody Rhodes. They have to fuck with every single WrestleMania main event he's in. And now he's going to go in to possibly lose another one. And I would actually be fine if Cody did retain, because I do like Cody, But I'm going to go Randy Orton. I think Randy Orton gets number 15 here. I think a lot of it is going to be, I just hope it's not too much copy and paste, because the WWE does that enough as it is. So if they're going to copy and paste the Travis Scott shit from last year into the Pat McAfee shit from this year, at least try to change it up a little bit. And I just feel like this is going to be our celebrity match. This is going to be, you know, the WrestleMania one with the Mr. T and all that, because you got McAfee, you're going to have Jelly Roll, God knows what else you're going to involve in this thing. Maybe even John Cena gets involved if he's out there doing something, I don't know. And I also think that Pat McAfee could possibly bleed over into the Night 2 main event as well. So there could be implications there. But I'm going to go Randy Orton to win his 15th World Championship at WrestleMania and beat Cody Rhodes. All right, Night 2. Night 2, guys. We know what it's opening up with. It's opening up with Brock Lesnar and Obafemi. This is going to be airing on ESPN. So, what do you think? Would WWE prefer to have Brock Lesnar win on ESPN or lose on ESPN? A lot of factors here. If you're just judging this match in a vacuum, I think 100 out of 100 fans are going to say Oba has to win this match. But let's say, hypothetically, some of these other rumors we're hearing are true. What if the plan is for, and I'm just saying hypothetically, we don't know for sure, but what if internally in WWE the plan is for Brock Lesnar to be retired by Gunther at SummerSlam? They might want to hype that up. They might want to hype up Brock and hype up Gunther heavily over the past next few months, making them both unbeatable. They're both going to go on winning streaks, and then you collide them at SummerSlam with Brock's career on the line. We've also heard reports that Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman have not wanted him to lose until he retires. Again, this is all just shit that we hear. Nobody has any confirmation on any of this shit at all, but you do have to take those things into consideration when you're thinking about who's going to win this match. I know who I want to win, Obafemi. 100%. I think everybody wants Obafemi to win. But we also have to acknowledge that there is a very good chance that Brock could win. And even though I want Oba to win, and a lot of you want Oba to win, you can't be so foolish in saying, oh, if Oba loses, it's the dumbest thing ever. It doesn't make any sense. Sure it does. Brock is Brock. Brock's beaten guys like Obafemi before. Wouldn't be out of the ordinary at all. It would just be disappointing to us. That's all. Doesn't mean it's a wrong decision, blah, blah, blah. It just means it's not what they did. Oba has been handling himself so well in this build and so well in this feud so far, and everything's been going so well, and WWE has been executing the issue between these two guys to near perfection. Very little I have to complain about how WWE has given us the Brock and Obafemi build. It's one of the only things they have done right. So, in true WWE fashion, they could undo all their great build by just having the fans forget about all of that. Because if Brock Lesnar beats Obafemi, the fans are not going to care about how good the build has been. They're going to forget all about that, and they're only going to focus on their anger that Brock Lesnar won. And I thought the minute this match was announced that it was not a guarantee that Obafemi was going to win. And I do not have a lot of confidence in my pick, which is Obafemi. I am picking him to beat Brock Lesnar because this match is on ESPN. Brock Lesnar is a well-known name. And if people are channel surfing and they see Brock Lesnar in the ring with some big, huge fucking monster, and that monster beats Brock, wow. I don't know much about wrestling, but I know Brock Lesnar's a badass, and look at how that guy just dominated him. I could see that being a thing. Now, would Brock want to lose on ESPN? Is Brock okay with getting beat on worldwide cable television? This is going to be Brock's first match on cable since 2002 on Raw. He's going to be on cable TV. So this specific match is going to be viewed by a larger audience than what's just on the ESPN Unlimited app, because it's going to be on cable TV. So does that factor in? Does Brock have too much equity in the company? We can't have Brock lose on ESPN. He's got to win here, But I don't know. The problem is with Brock winning, is that if Brock won, I would want to see Obafemi get that win back some other time. like them run it back, and then Oba wins at Backlash or something. But it sounds like this could be a legitimate one-off. If Brock Lesnar is retiring later on this year, and the plan is for him to go on a tear until he faces Gunther, then I think this will be the only match him and Obafemi have. In which case you're putting Obafemi in the ring with Brock just to lose and then go on with his career. Not that Oba still can't have a fantastic career, but I think he'd have a better one if he beat Brock Lesnar. So if this is going to be a one-off, it feels really silly to put Brock over here. It makes much more sense in a one-off scenario for Oba to win than Brock. If Brock wins, why? You know, all you've done now is just, you know, I wouldn't say, no, obviously not buried, but you've beaten one of your top prospects, you know, somebody that you would essentially think would fill the void of someone like a Brock Lesnar when Brock Lesnar officially leaves or officially retires. So even though Gunther might be the one to beat and retire Brock Lesnar, Obafemi might be the one to fill that Brock Lesnar void, which is why Oba, I believe, has to win. But I'm going to go ahead and plant my flag of sanity right now because I know how the fans are. We're going to watch WrestleMania both nights. If Brock Lesnar does win, the last thing in the world I'm going to do is flip my shit. WrestleMania is fun. 2 nights of wrestling. Let's just watch and enjoy. I'm not going to freak out. Blah, blah, Obafemi's career is dead. He should go back to NXT. Triple H is a fucking idiot. All that stuff. Even though I want Obafemi to win, even though I think he should win, I just do not subscribe to the sky is falling mentality whenever you get a match outcome you don't like. Oba will be fine if he loses to Brock. I would just prefer he didn't. That's all. So I'm going Obafemi to beat Brock Lesnar. Penta will be defending his Intercontinental Championship in a 6-man ladder match. This is Penta versus J.D. McDonough, Dragon Lee, Javon Evans, Rey Mysterio, and Rusev. Interesting little half-dozen group of guys here. On one hand, I would love to see Rey Mysterio win the Intercontinental Championship and then go on to drop it to Dominic or something like that. At some point, Dominic and Rey are going to have a match. Dominic is going to have to beat Rey and retire Rey. I want Dominic to retire Rey, not Gunther. So maybe the IC could be factored into that. Rey is kind of on my radar because they put him in the match. So, you know, if they needed a 6th combatant here, I mean, maybe it was a way to get him on the card, I suppose. But if he's not going to win, I feel like they might have just put someone else in there in the match. But, you know, it's Rey. How many now, so this is going to be, what, Rey's, like, 3rd or 4th WrestleMania since going into the Hall of Fame? Because I was in LA when he went in the Hall of Fame there. I remember we were at the bar watching the Hall of Fame on the phone across the street from Staples Center. And Rey went in, and then he won. He beat Dominic. And then did he work last year at Mania or the year before? I don't remember. But Rey is kind of a possibility, I think. But I don't want him to be. Penta retains. That's what they should do here. Have Penta retain. There's really no reason to have him drop the IC title here in this match. Based on the field, based on the other people in the match, the only way I would have Penta lose is if you've got some plans for Dominic and Rey after this. You know, Dominic held that IC championship for nearly a year. He considers it his belt. Watching his father carry it might annoy him and might set up a match between the two. That is the only reason I could see Rey winning. Like, if WWE wanted to put the IC title back on Dominic, then it might be more fun for him to beat Rey than Penta. Maybe that's their thought process. But still, even with that, I'm still going Penta to retain. I think Penta should retain the IC title here, and I'm hoping that he does. It's so funny, I have so many title changes on night 1 and hardly none on night 2, which is very strange. Very strange. Because I'm about to give you another one here. Sami Zayn defending the United States title against Trick Williams. I'm going Sami to retain. I think Sami is going to take advantage of a situation, and he's going to kind of go heel. We virtually saw a double turn on Friday night. And I think we'll see the rest of that here on Sunday in this match for the U.S. title. I think finally Sami Zayn is going to take advantage of a situation and do something a little bit heelish and screw over Trick Williams. Little Yachty will probably be out there too, selling his boats or whatever he does, because I think Little Yachty sells boats. He's a boat salesman. So he'll be out there at ringside passing out flyers to sell his boats, and he might not be able to see what Sami is doing to cheat in the ring, and Sami scores a win over Tricky William, retaining his title, kind of completing the double turn, and then Trick winds up winning the belt later, maybe a Backlash or something like that. So a couple of weeks ago, I had Trick on my radar to walk out of WrestleMania as a champion. Now I think it's going to be Sami. I think there's more story there with Sami retaining and resorting to dirty tricks to do so. So Sami Zayn retaining over Trick Williams. I'm still so bummed out, and I suppose tomorrow there is like a 1 in a million chance, so you're telling me there's a chance that maybe they'll stick Carmelo Hayes in this match, but I don't see it happening. I think it's just going to be straight up, so I'm going to go with Sami getting the win. Dominic Mysterio taking on Demon Finn Balor. Demon. It's got to be Demon, because the Demon has lost the last few times he's been the Demon, and I think one of the more frustrating ones was at WrestleMania 39 when he had the Hell in a Cell with Edge. Now, he got hurt real bad in that. He got a really nasty cut. They had to stop the match for part of that, but I remember being so bummed out that he lost. I thought that he should have won. Apparently that might have also been a Vince call. But the Demon should have won that night against Edge. And, don't forget he also fell off the fucking rope when he was wrestling Roman. So the Demon has had so much stupid shit happen to him. He's got to win here. He's got to beat Dominic. And I think the Demon will. So I'm going to go Demon Finn Balor over Dominic Mysterio. Jade Cargill defending her WWE Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley. Now, on paper, this looks like a match that WWE would book Rhea Ripley to win. I kind of thought that she was going to all the way up until a couple of weeks ago when they basically gave Jade Cargill her baddies back. She's with Michin and BFAP now. So you're just going to put this crew together only for Jade to drop the title? Another person we need to think about is Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair, we have not seen her since last WrestleMania. She dislocated her finger, I believe, in that triple threat with Rhea and Io Sky, right? We have not seen her since. She's really been struggling with finger surgeries and whatnot to get this finger healed. She was providing regular updates on social media all the way up until a few weeks ago, which we haven't heard much updates since then. So I'm hoping, much like Braun Breaker, she's ready to go. And they're going to have her return here. And of course, she already has the history with Jade. And Rhea was in the match with her last year where she got hurt. So if you've got Io Sky out there, maybe the baddies are out there, and Io Sky takes both of them out. She's fighting hard to help give Rhea Ripley a fair shot. And then maybe Jade's got Ripley down or something, and then Bianca Belair makes her return, and she comes dancing down to the ring, huge ovation, to come help out Rhea Ripley, and then she takes that big braid, and she slaps Ripley with it, and whips her. Jade can either be in on it or be surprised. Either way, is kind of shocked, takes advantage, beats Rhea Ripley. Bianca Belair is back, and she's finally turned heel like I've been begging her to do for the past 7 years now. And then the next TV on SmackDown or in some dramatic social media vignette, you have her chopping off the braid. Bring the braid out at WrestleMania, use it as a weapon to put down Ripley, but then after that, this transformation, this new Bianca, and she cuts off the braid, and she's got this killer instinct, and maybe she's aligned, temporarily maybe with Jade Cargill, even though that would be putting two alphas there front and center, might be hard for them to coexist. I think Bianca coming out and screwing over Rhea Ripley might be fun, because one WrestleMania match we need to get is Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley for the championship. You could also bring Bianca back as a babyface to help Rhea win, and then have the two of them build to a match next year anyway. You don't necessarily have to go Bianca heel, but I think Bianca going heel would be more fun. So Ripley much as I want to pick her to win the championship, I think Jade Cargill might retain. And it might have something to do with Bianca Belair, and it also might have something to do with Io Sky. I think Io Sky could be out there, and she could also perhaps cost Rhea Ripley the match or something like that, leading to a little feud between them, because right now they're still, very much in love with each other. Something has got to disrupt that tight bond that they have. And maybe Io making some sort of mistake. Maybe she means well, best of intentions, heart in the right place type of thing. But what she does ultimately costs Rhea Ripley the match and Jade Cargill retains. So I think between the baddies, Io Sky, and Bianca Belair, Jade might find a way to win. Which leaves us with our main event of night 2. CM Punk defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Roman Reigns. I originally thought as well that when this match was first booked, that Roman Reigns would win this championship. It's a belt he's not won yet. He hasn't been World Heavyweight Champion, so I just assumed that he would. However, Punk's been doing a great job. I mean, Punk on the mic is much better than Punk in the ring, but he's really been carrying himself well as WWE Champion. Or World Champion, that pipe bomb a couple of weeks ago was tremendous. A lot of the promo work between him and Roman has been pretty good. They just had that one off week that I didn't really love. But Roman Reigns also, you got to remember, is a part-timer. And Randy Orton could be banged up, and he could win the title this weekend as well. So, you could have Randy Orton, who's hurt, win the championship, and then a part-timer winning the other one, and now you got yourself in a situation where your champions aren't featured much on either one of your shows. Also, Roman Reigns' family being involved in this. We've seen the Usos getting involved early on when Punk invoked the name of Sika. The Usos are kind of pissed. Punk pointing out how Roman treats them, how he never apologized to them, how he abuses them. Things like that, really pointing out all those things. And a lot of fans, right after the first week of the build between Punk and Reigns, immediately had the Bloodline on their radar. The Bloodline is going to reunite. The Bloodline, maybe even with Sammy involved, is going to be a part of this and are going to help Roman Reigns win the championship, and they're going to reunite the entire Bloodline. We could see that. We could see it going the other direction. I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Usos get involved here and they wind up helping CM Punk. Wouldn't be surprised in that either. So I think we are going to see some things happen here. We're going to see some interference, probably from the Usos, and maybe even from Pat McAfee. And if McAfee gets involved, I could see Roman Reigns winning the title, because Roman's, little vignette on Punk, he's saying things like, he's basically implying that he's on the corporate side of this. Obviously, we know Randy Orton is now with Pat McAfee, so Pat McAfee is instrumental in giving TKO the champions that they want, basically recreating the Austin McMahon stuff. Basically McMahon wanted anybody but Austin. He wanted a corporate champion. So if they're kind of bringing that back, and Roman and Randy are going to be the corporate champions that TKO wants, I could see Roman Reigns walking out with the championship. And then Cody and Punk, being the two guys trying to take down the TKO machine. And we could see Cody and Punk, formulating more of a bond all year long as they battle this TKO machine, only for them to do battle with each other at next year's WrestleMania. Because I think it's got to be Cody. I think right now, Cody and Punk is the only match you could really realistically do for a solid Night 2 main event next year in Saudi Arabia. So if you really wanted to make this a long build, you can start things off here, right here at WrestleMania, by having both guys drop their belts, and then they have to fight this TKO machine. And then maybe by the time we get to next year, one of them overcomes the obstacle and takes down one of the TKO champions, and then the other one wins the Rumble. Maybe we do that. However, despite all that and all the possibilities and all the different things they could possibly do, I think CM Punk is going to walk out of Night 2 as the champion. I think Randy will win the title on Night 1, and Punk will retain on Night 2. The only problem with my predictions that I didn't realize until I said them all out loud is that on night 1, I have every title changing hands, and on night 2, I have every champion retaining. That feels out of balance. I feel like we're going to have, out of all of the title changes I predicted on night 1, I think someone will retain. I think either Nia and Lash will retain, or Stephanie will retain, or Liv will retain, or Cody will retain. One of them will probably retain, and then on night 2, we could see Trick win the U.S. or a new IC champion, or Ripley win. Yeah, that's very, very out of balance, but I'm not going to change my picks. I'm going to leave them. I'm going to see if they stand. I mean, imagine if I got all these matches right. WWE would be front-loading all their title changes on one show and then have nothing on night 2. Not that we need title changes to be satisfied, but it would be weird if they were all condensed onto one show instead of spreading them out. If WWE is only going to have 4 total title changes across both nights, I put 2 on one show and 2 on the other show. But the way it's set up right now, it's kind of out of balance, which means my prediction will not be perfect this year. Let's recap. LA Knight Usos to win the 6-man. Bayley and Lyra to win the women's tags. Becky Lynch to regain the Intercontinental Championship over AJ Lee. Jacob Fatu over Drew McIntyre. Liv Morgan to win the Women's World Championship over Stephanie McGuire. Gunther to beat Seth Rollins with help of a returning Braun Breaker. And Randy Orton to beat Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship with help from Pat McAfee and Jelly Roll and fucking Obama. Who knows who's going to show up in that one. Night 2, I've got Oba over Brock, although I'm not very confident about that. I've got Penta retaining the IC title in the ladder match. Sami Zayn retaining over Trick Williams in a double turn type of scenario there between the two of them. I've got the Demon over Dom. I've got Jade Cargill over Rhea Ripley, possibly with the return of Bianca Belair being factored into that, and CM Punk retaining over Roman Reigns. Now, if Punk beats Reigns, that means it's also going to be 3 straight losses for Roman at WrestleMania. Losing at 40, losing at 41, and now losing at 42. Although, I guess at 40 he did win and lose. So he had a victory on night 1 and a loss on night 2, and then he lost last year in the night 1 main event in a triple threat with Punk and Seth. So it's asking a lot for Roman to drop 3 straight WrestleMania main events. Not sure if that's something that's going to fly either. So I acknowledge that my predictions could be a little suspect. But that's who I got. That's who I'm sticking with. Well,
New York or not, but I think, what you said before is accurate, that we're probably heading towards you said a ladder match?
I have a sneaking suspicion that Tony Khan wants to recreate modern day with Edge and Grayson, with the Young Bucks and FTR, the ladder match that they had with the Dudleys, Hardys, and Edge and Grayson back in the day.
All right, well, if that's the case, I mean, I don't know that Edge and Christian need to be in too many more ladder matches, but my only hope there is that Copeland does not do something stupid off of a ladder the way he did in the cage when he wrestled Malachi Black.
Yes, you physically saw his injury happen right before our very eyes, midair, before he even crashed with the thing.
Yes. Leave that to the Bucks.
Yeah.
And FTR, and please don't die.
Yeah. No, we don't want to see that. We love them. This one broke down at the end, and Stokely got involved. There was a steel chair involved. Cage ripped it away. Stokely grabbed it. Cage was posted and thrown over the timekeeper's table, so he got taken out. FTR had bloodied Copeland, like Jason said, and apparently he got busted open hard way. Now, he got hit with the championship, and he was bleeding buckets, so he takes a super kick. FTR mocks the Young Bucks, because obviously that's what they've been doing. FTR trigger. Copeland hits a double spear. Wheeler dodges a spear. FTR hits a shatter machine, and they pin Copeland. 1, 2, 3. That was it. Post-match earlier, and there's a lot of smoke out there right now. And I think through the haze that Vince McMahon will rise again to some level. And it just may be main events. It may just be titles or whatever. I don't know. But I can't see this much talk and speculation about Vince for there not to be something there. It may not be as active as I perceive that he might be, but I don't know. I just think he's going to be involved in WrestleMania in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Everyone wants to say no disrespect to Triple H team at all. It's the fact that you got the most successful pro wrestling guy in the history who's available. And I think that you use whoever's available in the best way, like he's some fucking sort of free agent out there, the best way he can be used, and call it a day. See where it takes you. You know, a lot of people, Jason, we talked about this last week, kind of insinuated on it, that Vince's name has been in people's mouths a lot, and people, there is a large subsection of people that want him back running the show. I mean, I don't know what the fuck these people were 4 or 5 years ago and how awful the fuck it was, but nobody wants to go back to that day and time ever again. What do you make of JR? Does he know something that we don't? And could you see Vince McMahon somehow, after all this is gone and it's cleared, his name is clear with the Chanel Grant stuff, being welcomed back by Ari Emanuel? Because let's be real, Ari and Nick Khan, Triple H, with the text that we saw, they knew that he was going through all this nonsense with... So yes, the 6-man tag team match. That is opening the show on Saturday on ESPN2. I was told, Jason, we're not supposed to mention ESPN proper because Michael Cole said ESPN proper about 7 or 8 times on Raw last night.
He said it many times.
We're going to say ESPN. That's what's going to happen on Sunday. So that's the opening match. The second match in the first hour on ESPN2 is going to be Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre. This is an unsanctioned match. This has been going on for several months now. Drew McIntyre took the WWE Championship into the January 9th episode of SmackDown, only to lose it to Cody Rhodes. And, well, no, do I have it backwards? What was that? 3 stages of hell. He won the title on January 9th, and then Cody won it several weeks in March. Yeah. So, the point I was trying to make is Drew McIntyre is not walking into WrestleMania as the WWE Champion, which is sad, seeing how everything has just kind of degenerated the way that it has with Pat McAfee, Randy Orton, and Cody Rhodes. But I saw Drew McIntyre, Jason, recently say, in regards to his creator, that he is still trying to chase the dragon when it comes to what he did with CM Punk. Now, I thought that was a great feud. I thought there were many layers to that, a lot of interesting aspects. We went from Punk being injured. If he didn't really get injured, I don't know where we would have gone with that. I mean, it all came about with Punk getting injured in the Rumble that year. Punk screwed him over every now and then, and it kind of got to a point where Punk came back. It was made about the bracelet and how important the bracelet was, and then it went into Hell in a Cell, and they gave us an old school classic Hell in a Cell match the way that it should be. He says he's chasing the dragon. What do you feel about his feud with Jacob Fatu? How do you measure it up to what he did with CM Punk?
I mean, look, it's not the CM Punk feud. It hasn't gone on long enough, and it doesn't have that personal, that personal flair to it. So yeah, I think he's probably going to be chasing after something like the CM Punk feud for a long time. That's one of those special things that came along. Punk got hurt. Nobody could have predicted that, and they just turned. So like that wasn't even the original idea. But they turned it into something because he got injured, and then he was taking shots at him on social media, and the stars aligned. And Punk obviously is great at throwing shots, right? Throwing bombs at the other guy. He was the perfect person for Drew McIntyre to play off of. Is there anybody else in WWE right now that he could play off of the way he played off of CM Punk? Because there aren't very many people that I can think of right now in wrestling, let alone in WWE. You can count them all in one hand who can match wits on the mic with CM Punk when he's motivated to go out there and cut you down on the microphone, right? Not a lot of people like that.
I think Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre could really bring it to that level, but they really haven't explored that option yet.
Maybe, but it's not going to be the same as Punk. No. Roman's not Punk on the mic. So, and I'm sorry, I don't know where she is, but that's the way it is. So I think he'll be chasing after that for a while. This feud, though, I still maintain it was not Drew McIntyre.
But all of this surrounding the Bella Twins to potentially leave EO off the show, which is fucking mind-boggling to me. But we'll talk about that in a second. But as far as this match goes, who do you see walking out with the Women's Tag Team Championships, which in my opinion has been some of the most nauseating, very forced, and just downright bad television that WWE produced coming out of the Royal Rumble, man. All of this is just shit, in my opinion. I think I'm going with the irresistible forces to retain the titles.
So my pick was Bayley and Lyra to win the belts. And then I saw Lyra beat Charlotte Flair on Raw last night. And I feel a little less confident about my prediction now, but I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna stick to my guns. Bayley, she really got fucked over last year going into Wrestlemania. I think it would be nice for her and Lyra to have that moment. I think they're a good team also.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stick with them. I'm gonna say that they win the tag team title.
And then maybe we could get a proper feud between Charlotte, Alexa, Bayley, and Lyra, which I was hoping would be the tag team title match on this show, just 2 against 2. I think Alexa and Charlotte start building their split after WrestleMania. I think it all comes after that potential Bayley-Lyra win. I could see them winning. I could definitely see them winning. I'm going with Nia and Lash. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think Lash Legend has really benefited at all from Nia Jax. I don't know how you feel about the pairing, but I honestly think it's dragging her down more than anything.
Well, she doesn't get to really stand out on her own.
No.
It was like, okay, well, how can we introduce her to the main roster, but kind of hide her at the same time? Because maybe she's not quite where she needs to be, but we'll get her the experience of being on the main roster. Of course, that would make more sense if they were running live events, which they don't do anymore. Because if she were doing live events, she'd be working with Nia in tag matches every night.
Yeah.
And right now, they're just doing TV, and that's pretty much it. So I don't really, and they're not even wrestling on TV every week. So I fail to see how it's really benefiting her in any meaningful way, other than just introducing her to a wider audience. So yeah, I don't want to say that she's regressed, just because I don't even think we're seeing her enough to even make that judgment call. She's not really wrestling that much.
Hopefully she has a breakout moment here at WrestleMania. Fatal 4-way. Jason's going Bayley-Lyra. I'm going to stick with Nia and Lash. Women's IC title, AJ Lee and Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I am not very interested in seeing this one-on-one match again, though. I do think that both women are going to show up just because it's WrestleMania. I am very interested, side note, in Becky and Seth's coffee. They got a new coffee roastery / business venture here together. AMO Coffee. So I already signed up for their waitlist, and I'm going to be buying a bag as soon as it's released in about 12 days. So happening after WrestleMania. If you guys are coffee connoisseurs like I am. As far as this, Jason, I don't really know if there's anything radically different about what we've seen here coming out of the chamber and then going into WrestleMania. It's been largely just more of the same. The only thing of note here, as far as the difference, is that maybe AJ and Becky have kind of turned up the seriousness a little bit. But outside that, it's basically the same that we got going into the Elimination Chamber. I'm going Becky winning the title back. I just don't think AJ is going to be on TV enough to warrant a schedule for her to be the Intercontinental Champion. So I think Becky's going to retain it and win it for a third time.
Yeah, I have Becky winning the championship. That's the right move. Yeah. We don't have to prolong the AJ Lee experiment. I think if she wants to wrestle every now and then, that's fine. But I don't think she needs to be walking around with a championship beyond WrestleMania. I think it was... walking around with a championship beyond WrestleMania. I think it was a nice moment in Chicago, and now that moment is over, and I think Becky is going to get the belt back. The only thing that would make sense to me if she was not going to win the belt back would be if the idea was to move her being Becky, into a title feud, let's say, with Stephanie. If Stephanie was going to come out of Mania as champion, I'd be fine with that if that were the idea. So I don't know if there's maybe a longer term plan for Becky to move back up into the world title scene, but assuming that she's not
Raw, there was a segment which started off as a brawl, like everything else, and your StreamYard popped up there. So let me stay in studio. That's all I'm on. We got
It'll be 20 minutes before it pops up. It never pops up for me at the same time it pops up for you.
Yeah, I don't know. We got a full bar brawl between these guys. Another brawl. Everybody brawled last night. So Rollins wanted to know why Gunther chose him for WrestleMania. So Gunther comes out and says, Seth, I'm solving Heyman's problem, but I'm doing it with a smile on my face because you are pissing me off. Because for years you strut around here acting like you're the best in this ring, and reality is, you're not. I am. And if you're honest to yourself, you never wanted to find out because when I was World Heavyweight Champion, seeking out the highest level of competition, you became a useful idiot for Paul Heyman. So WrestleMania, it is personal to me. I'm setting it straight. It's very personal to expose that Seth Rollins can't lace my boots. So I think, Jason, everybody is feeling a little bit more at ease with what we're getting because WWE has tied up all of this to really make it feel like the original plans, in contrast, were weaker. Now, the original plans were Gunther and Ray, and then Rollins and Breakker. They opted to not go Rollins and Breakker and save Breakker for maybe a WrestleMania appearance here, costing him this match, and then doing the match one-on-one at Backlash in Tampa. On the flip side, you got Gunther and Rey Mysterio. Does it sound like a good match? Sure, but it is a WrestleMania match? Probably not.
No.
And Rey Mysterio's not going to retire because of the career killer, and I think he wants to do something with his son to a point where maybe Dominic retires. Regardless, the plans are now better, and I like the way that they also tie Paul Heyman into this, where Heyman owes Gunther a favor now, which could eventually lead to Gunther and Lesnar at SummerSlam in Minneapolis. I think what WWE did here, though convoluted, in some weird way, makes a lot of sense.
No, I mean, I'm just glad they at least attempted to give us some sort of explanation last night. I didn't think we were going to get any, honestly. And all of a sudden, he's like, tell me why. He's like one of the fucking Backstreet Boys last night. Tell me why. Tell me why. And so Gunther comes back to the ring, and he's like, I'll tell you why. And he at least tried to explain why. So the only thing that it's tough to really buy it is that, you know, he's like, this is deeply personal.
Yeah.
And this is not a personal issue.
No.
You know, him saying that, you know, you keep calling yourself and acting like you're the best when I know I'm the best. It's the most basic premise for a wrestling match, right? These two want to go in there and find out who the better wrestler is. And that's great. And I think they're going to go out there and potentially steal the show. But to try to pass this off as this is personal for me, it's really not. You know, they were kind of stretching the credibility there when it comes to how personal this issue is. They had to, you know, go a different way with things, and we ended up with what probably is going to be the stronger match overall. But they didn't have a lot of time to build a story. So we got a little bit of story in there. We got some semblance of an explanation. At least they tried to give us something. And now these two are going to go out there. I think they're going to have a kick-ass match. And I think that at the end of all of it, Braun Breaker is going to get involved.
Yeah.
We know he's medically cleared. I think that we all pretty much surmised that coming out of this, it's going to be Seth and it's going to be Breaker. So why not have Breaker show up, cost Seth, they go off and do their thing, and you keep Gunther, you know, rolling. You know, he should not be losing to anybody right now.
No.
For him to lose this match would be completely ridiculous. But I think that's how they protect Seth. I think they have Breaker get involved and Gunther wins.
Well, if they wanted to make it really personal with Gunther and Rollins, I mean, Rollins was on TV for 3 weeks acting like a clown with the fucking putties out there, Paul Heyman. And Gunther was off television for 3 weeks. Maybe he should have come back and kind of integrated himself into the Rollins nonsense and maybe do something out of character and target Rollins. Instead, we just get him showing up out of nowhere to disappear for 3 weeks, attacking him, and then pointing at the WrestleMania sign, and then waiting another week for an explanation. I don't know.
mother was trash, but I didn't know that she raised a little bitch. And then Stephanie. So I mean, it doesn't get any more personal than that.
Well, then she started screaming like fucking some possessed witch out there. I can't even recreate it.
It was piercing. It was ear piercing. And so yeah, she looked like she had slept in 4 days. Somebody said in the chat she didn't wear any makeup. Probably not. I mean, she sold it like she had been up for like days, just waiting to get her hands on this woman. This feels like a personal issue. This feels like two women who genuinely do not like each other. And so I'm looking forward to the match. And I happen to think that Liv Morgan is going to leave as the women's world champion.
I agree. Listen, it wasn't working. There was no real tangible like investment from either one of these women for a match. Liv won the Rumble. Stephanie's been cold. Let's be honest. Her title run has not been very exciting. I wouldn't say she is successful. She's very good. It just hasn't been an entertaining title run. They've thrown Raquel Rodriguez at her, and I don't know, somebody else maybe. I can't even think of it. It was just one or two women that she's really kind of merry-go-round title. But they transitioned this into making it feel personal, and I do think that when you add that sense of, like, these women fucking don't like each other for real, I think that's going to make for a good match, and it's made for an obviously better story. This out of all the women's matches on this card, this feels the strongest now, where coming in, this was like one of the weakest, because of the stories they were telling. This clearly is better than Jade and Rhea and what they're doing. I'm not invested in that whatsoever. This I'm fully invested in.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And also I think, you know, if Liv wins the championship, there's so much potential there with her and Raquel at some point. When I did my predictions at the beginning of the year, I picked Roxanne Perez as my pick to win the women's Money in the Bank match. And that's still a ways off. Money in the Bank is not until Labor Day weekend, but still, let's say Liv is champion. If they're all still together, Roxanne wins the briefcase. There's a lot of storyline potential there. And Stephanie, I like Stephanie, but her run has been very underwhelming. And she could benefit from working with someone like a Becky Lynch. I just don't know that that's the direction they're going to go in. I feel like that title needs to come off of her. This run has been just very lackluster, and there's just more storyline potential, I think, with Liv as champion.
Yeah, Stephanie was recently quoted. She was interviewed by CBV, and he asked about her theme music that got changed. Now, her original theme music was by Chris Eager. It was called Dairy Beat, which you can find on Spotify, by the way, if you guys want to go find it. She said, I like it, meaning the new beat. I love my old song, though, but, you know, many issues, so we need a new song. I just hope people can understand that. Then she was asked, Jason, if she could choose one song to come out to at WrestleMania, it would be Megadeth's Head Crusher. Now, I don't know how likely that is to happen, but Head Crusher would be a great track for her to come out to. She's a big Megadeth fan.
Do you think TKO is spending money on fucking Megadeth? Are you kidding me?
No, they're not.
They just drove up the ticket prices. They just asking that question. They just drove up the ticket prices even more now.
Imagine what it would cost to get Megadeth and Dave Mustaine to actually play one song at WrestleMania.
I think Tony Khan is crazy enough to do it at like All In.
Oh, he better get Alter Bridge to play Adam Copeland's last match. He has to.
I can see. Look, if that's what Copeland requested, I absolutely think Tony would look into trying to make that happen.
I would
Absolutely.
love Tony Khan till the end of days if he did that.
Look, Sting was coming out to the old Seek and Destroy, and that's one thing that he has shown in the past, like he will not shy away from, even if it's just like a one-time only thing. Whether it's, you know, Final Countdown or what other song.
No, when Cope wrestled Malachi in the steel cage match where he broke his leg, he came out to Slayer's Rain and Blood.
That's right.
He's not afraid to buy some rights to some music. I'll tell you that.
And I wish WWE would be open to that as well. It doesn't have to be like that's their new theme music. It could just be for a special entrance or something, but like real music. I mean, they've done it occasionally in the past, but it's something I wish they would be open to doing more often. I get that, like some of these artists or
Main event. Undisputed WWE title match. Cody Rhodes defends against Randy Orton with his voice, Pat McAfee. Now, it wouldn't be a TNT if we didn't cycle back in time here and go back to Friday Night SmackDown. I know, everybody's favorite show, where Pat McAfee, Jason, made a second appearance, and you, me, and everybody else that was live on Friday night said the same exact thing. He made everything that much worse on Friday night. So he addressed CM Punk. He mentioned that CM Punk's got 283 things for sale on WWE Shop, and I wondered to myself, when that TKO merch check comes through, which account does it go to? Does it go to the needy wrestling family who can't afford Wrestlemania tickets? Or do I have a sneaking suspicion that money came, or that money from the TKO merch account goes straight into the bank account entitled, I'm sorry, Saudi Arabia. So he says he's a fraud, he talks like a politician, he's all talk and no action. And he had a major surprise. So everybody was massive surprise. This was going to be the ground-shaking announcer that changes WrestleMania forever. So he comes out, and we see the Dodge Ram logo squarely in the center of the ring on the wrestling mat, on that blue wrestling mat. He says, so I called Ram Trucks, the official sponsor of WrestleMania, and I said, hey, Ram Trucks, do you want to help wrestling fans and sports entertainment fans get to WrestleMania? They said, absolutely. So I asked them, why don't you pick up 25% of the bill for anybody that buys a ticket to WrestleMania Saturday night from this moment till the end of Monday Night Raw? They said, no problem. 25% off all tickets. To me, San Jose, sounds great. Now WrestleMania Sunday night, that's ass. I wouldn't recommend anybody spending money on that. But Saturday night, 25% off to see a once-in-a-lifetime, in all of sports, Randy Orton going to save this business while winning the 15th world title. Have you guys ever won a Stanley Cup here in San Jose? Holy shit, never. He goes on to Perry, San Jose, and that was his big announcement.
Yeah, so let me stop you.
Yeah.
He comes out, he's healing on the fans, he's calling them scumbags, he's pointing to a guy in the front row calling him fatso, and insulting their sports teams, right? It's clear they want him to get all the heat that Cody Rhodes has been getting. They want to kind of transfer it over to Randy Orton and Pat McAfee. Yeah. But he stands in the ring and he goes, you know what I did? I called our title sponsor for WrestleMania this year so that we can get all of you people 25% off WrestleMania Saturday tickets down through Monday. You're welcome. So he baby-faced the crowd by telling them that he got them 25% off WrestleMania tickets. But we're supposed to boot this guy. Yeah. CM Punk did a promo last week and said, lower the ticket prices. Pat McAfee picked up the phone and he got Ram Trucks to help lower the ticket prices. But he's supposed to be booed because he's supposed to be a heel. Now,
While also burying night 2, which is clearly the better night.
He did. But I'm just wondering, okay, so why would you send him out there to get all of his heat and then have his big announcement be that he's giving the fans a discount on WrestleMania tickets? Even the big angle, like I was trying to just check out and hope
That's the second AEW reference in 2 weeks, Pat McAfee.
yes, after the 5'5" guys doing the 45-minute Iron Man matches, yes. And people think this is good. Like, that's what gets me. I think that almost angers me more, the justification, where it's like, well, you're just hating on it for the sake of hating on it. It's different. It's outside the box. Cody is boring, so this is what it needed. And they completely, like, they're so divorced from reality, not realizing what it is that I think so many fans are actually upset about and why this is so terrible.
You got those comments? I got a comment like that.
Oh,
From,
yeah.
what's his name? NoIQ.com over there. He said, no, everybody says WWE is predictable, man. When they do something unpredictable, not really predictable, everybody shits on it. Like, it sucks. What do you want me to tell you? Like, everybody's making money off of... We're making money, Jason, because we're negative on the product. Meanwhile, we're not supposed to rant about Pat McAfee. I don't really get it.
So we weren't making money when
Yes.
we weren't?
Yes.
Granger knows that if you're a school custodian, cleanliness is your top priority. That's why you can rely on Granger for a range of cleaning products and equipment, from disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Yes.
Okay.
We only make money when it's bad and when we rant and rave about something like Pat McAfee, but when WWE's good, we don't make any money, apparently.
We're just whoring ourselves against the street corners.
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly what we're doing.
Okay.
This shit's
I think I would get more money than you would, but that's a different story. But like, this is all just it's just all so embarrassing. And look, I can't sit here and say that at the end of all of this, there won't be some sort of big swerve or big development in the story that sounds interesting, or that they can't take this and eventually take it in a direction that is exciting, or that I can look at and go, okay, now this, you know what, this is interesting, this I can get behind. I hope so. But if everything we're hearing is accurate, this was something that, again, it was kind of forced upon them, and it really is all about WrestleMania. I don't know how much thought has been given into what this looks like in 3 months. I think they're so laser focused right now on WrestleMania and then maybe Backlash that I also see people kind of fantasy booking all of these different scenarios and like a TKO Civil War with WWE, like a New Age corporation.
Nothing happened.
How many times do we fall for this where it's like, oh, maybe there's like gold at the end of the rainbow. There's some great idea here. We just like, man, this is cinema. This is like, they're 4 steps ahead here. Like, they're not. And so we're heading into WrestleMania. We have this match. I think that Randy Orton is going to be a 15-time world champion.
Yes.
Even though
they
Rhodes,
basically
Cody
telegraphed
Rhodes says, well, but Cody, think about that. If that actually happens, Cody Rhodes, I mean, for everything that's happened to him, and then he goes in there and loses. I mean, how terrible is that?
Well, they telegraphed it. They told you exactly what's going to happen, because the match that everybody's now planning, or they're planning for Backlash, is this mixed celebrity tag team match with Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee.
Yeah, that's going to be most likely going to be the Backlash match.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes and Jelly Roll against Randy Orton and Pat McAfee. Because McAfee said that if Randy Orton doesn't win number 15, you will never see me or hear from me in this business ever again.
I'm low-key hoping Cody Rhodes wins. Decisively.
Here's the saddest part about it. My attitude coming into this match, if you would have told me that this is going to be the WrestleMania main event 3 months ago, oh, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
My attitude now is, I can't wait for this to be over with.
I don't even consider this a main event. I think Brock and Ober's a bigger main event than this fucking match.
Objectively.
Yeah.
Objectively. I cannot wait for this shit to be over.
You know,
That's where I'm at right now.
I was also told today by a couple of people, you know, obviously haters who still listen to what we do and what we do here on Tuesday night. They said, you're not seeing the plan that they're putting in action here. They're only using Pat McAfee to get Randy Orton the heat because everybody was cheering Randy Orton. It's working and you marks are falling for it. I'm like, no, that's not the fucking reason they brought Pat McAfee in. Give me a fucking break. Because they were afraid Randy Orton's getting cheered? Are you kidding me?
Did you see the reaction that Randy Orton got on Friday?
He got cheered.
Well, no, I mean, it was more indifference than anything else. I mean, he wasn't being wildly cheered like he was a few weeks ago. But he also wasn't being booed.
No.
I felt like, I didn't feel like he was being being overly cheered. I felt like, man, okay, congratulations, you've now succeeded in taking a reaction that was very strong for Randy Orton and muting it enough to where, I don't know, it came across to me like he wasn't getting much of a reaction. That is not going to make Cody all of a sudden get universally cheered, though. So you've just made things worse, honestly, by doing what you've done. But that's not why this is happening. Like, Ari Emanuel doesn't give a fuck if Cody Rhodes is being booed. Again, there were other reasons why, if these reports are to be believed, there are other reasons why this is happening. I just think that people who are, again, fantasy booking this thing out with The Rock, or, I mean, we've heard so many
Shane McMahon,
or like, you're just setting yourself up for, you know, the inevitable disappointment.
Can you imagine Shane McMahon comes out in the main event and starts shadow punching Cody Rhodes in the main event?
Yeah, I can actually, and then not one of the punches connecting. Yes, I've seen this story before with him and Randy Orton. Funny enough, many years ago, and it was horrible then, and it would be horrible now. So I just want this over with. I think Orton's going to win number 15. I mean, I know Cody just won the belt back last month, but that's my prediction. I think we're going to get a title change because if he doesn't win the championship, I mean, where do you go from there?
Do you mean to tell me WrestleMania Night 1's going to end with another celebrity interference and a title change?
Oh, I think Jelly Roll is going to show up. If he doesn't come out with Cody, I think he'll show up during the match and take care of Pat. I think his role will be to try to neutralize Pat McAfee, and then, you know, the good thing about that is maybe we end up with, you know, Cody and Randy doing their thing without all the bullshit interference. But this is going to be an overbooked mess. I mean,
Do you believe what we're talking about here? Randy Orton,
yes.
Cody Rhodes, 20 years of history, one of the most sought-after main events in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee are going to fucking factor into this main event.
Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee.
Oh. Fucking factor into this main event.
Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee.
Oh.
This is fucking awful. And anybody who defends this, you offend me. Okay? There is no defense in this.
We don't want you listening to our content, man. Just go watch
Dude,
somebody else.
This is so fucking bad. Like, seriously, you cannot defend this.
They took 20 years of fucking history, almost 50 years of active professional wrestling between these two guys, and shed this story and all that came with it to sell you on Pat McAfee to go out there and make it about himself, telling you the fucking show sucks. WrestleMania isn't selling well. Here's 25% off. Come watch me save pro wrestling, man. As Jason goes away, what a fucking fitting moment for him to just bow out, man. Look. Oh my God. Oh, what an awful situation. There he is. You got cut out as soon as I finished my last sentence, man.
I was like, I'm listening. I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I don't want to talk about this anymore. It's just pissing me off.
Oh my God, we're moving on, man.
But I think we're in agreement.
Yes.
I think Randy Orton is winning the title.
Yes, he has to.
Because I do think that they're going to want something, you know, big to happen at the end of night one, and so I think that's probably what we're going to end up getting.
God, they deserve everything that's coming to them. If they continue this with Jelly Roll into Backlash, I hope I hope Tony Khan has a master plan to just fucking say fuck you, man, and just do something big. Please, steal the viewers.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt that they're going to want to get another, you know, big PLE match out of it. Got tickets to sell in Tampa, right? Yeah. That's where Backlash is.
Well,
what's the ticket count in Tampa? I would love to know.
I don't know. Somebody look into that. We got night two. Night two, like I said earlier, is 6 matches, and it is the stronger show for sure on paper.
You know what? I hate to go back to it, but like, you know what the best ending to this match would be? The best ending to this match would be for them to just retcon all of this shit, and, you know, McAfee's getting involved in everything. Cody Rhodes is you know, he gets punted in the head, and Randy Orton wins the championship, and McAfee's celebrating with him. We're saving wrestling, baby, and then Randy Orton fucking punts him in the head because he has no need for him anymore. He got exactly what he wanted. He got his belt, and that's it. He punts him into oblivion, and we don't see him again. And then for good measure, he can punt Jelly Roll too, because why the fuck not?
Yeah.
And then Randy Orton That would be great.
Yeah.
And then we forget all of this ever happened, and Randy Orton now has number 15, and Cody has to chase him for it.
Yeah. Night 2. We have the ESPN channel. I won't say ESPN proper.
I'll say it.
ESPN proper.
ESPN proper.
The first 2 matches that we will see. First one will be Obafemi and Brock Lesnar, and then after that we got the ladder match for the IC title. We'll start with Oba and Brock. I know this one has been a discussion in the community on who's going to win. Oba should win. Some people think Brock should win to get a second match out of it, because what has Oba done to deserve beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania? You heard all the excuses and everybody's fantasy booking. All I'll say with this, Jason, is I think out of everything we've seen on WrestleMania, this has easily, I'm even including Roman and Punk in this, easily been the best built match going into WrestleMania. This feels like a WrestleMania match. I am genuinely, I don't want to say marking out, but my fandom for a pro wrestling match, I am very, very invested into what these two guys are doing here. Oba is the fucking man. He is going to be a future main event WrestleMania guy for years and years and years to come. I know Paul Heyman said that about Braun Breaker. It's Obafemi, no doubt about it. In 3 months, this guy has just rocketed up as far as fan perception. He is the fucking man. I don't know what the reaction would be if Lesnar won. I'm not going to be one of those people that's going to come on here and fucking lose my voice like I did for Pat McAfee. If Lesnar wins, I'm not going to be surprised. But if Lesnar wins, I don't think it's as bad as people think, because Obafemi's star has obviously gotten a lot brighter since debuting at the Royal Rumble. Now, with that said, I'm not saying that Lesnar should win. We are both in agreement that Obafemi should win, and Oba needs to beat Brock Lesnar, because I believe Lesnar's going away till SummerSlam at least. Oba's going to be on TV full time and be there almost every week. I think it benefits him more so, obviously, and it does nothing for Lesnar if he wins. But the build here has been tremendous. This is a WrestleMania match through and through. I'm going with Obafemi.
Yeah, I think Obafemi is going to win this match. Brock has gotten virtually no offense in on him. He never did get him up for the F5 and lay him out or anything like that. They have done... anything like that. They have done... I mean, it's amazing that the same people who booked this are responsible for booking some of these other matches on this WrestleMania card, because they have not made a single misstep in this, which is shocking to me. Every step of the way, they have made the right call in how they have handled this. And then right down to putting a mic in Oba's hand on Raw last night, where he cut what I thought was a hell of a promo.
Excellent promo.
That was his first promo in front of a live crowd on Raw, and the intensity increased as the promo went on, and that's really when I think he's at his best. The more intense he gets, he's got that big booming voice. He kind of commands the room.
Yeah.
But every city they've been in, New York, Houston, I guess they were in Sacramento last night, everyone's cheering, everyone's chanting his name, everyone's barking for him as he comes down to the ring. They have made a new star. And I just feel like all they need to do, they've done everything right up until this point. All they need to do now is stick the landing.
Yep.
So many times before, they can't stick the landing. How you do that is very simple. You have him win. Because wins and losses still mean something.
Yes.
And the easiest way, you want to get this guy, not that he's not over already, but you really want to cement it and show people that what he said last night wasn't a fluke, right? He said last night, I'm the one. Like, I'm the guy.
That's exactly what I said last night. How are you going to have him cut that promo and then have him lose on Sunday? That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I'm the guy, and then for him to go out there and get, F5 and then beat would be very stupid. It's not a career killer, but I think it would be very stupid. Just let him go in there and beat Brock, right? You protect Brock so much. For what? For this.
Yeah.
For moments like this. So it's the only outcome to me that really makes sense here. Even though, again, he's gotten one over on Brock every step of the way. You got to take it to its conclusion. And the proper outcome is to have him go in there and it does not have to be a long match. Again,
10 minutes.
Use the Goldberg blueprint from WrestleMania in Orlando. That went, I think, 6 minutes.
Yeah.
This should go, I'd like to see this go a little bit longer than that, but not much, and I think it's the perfect match to open on ESPN on night 2.
Yeah.
Because it's the match that's probably in front of that audience, who maybe they don't follow every match and every story. guys standing face to face in the ring together, I think you're going to stop what you're doing, and you're going to pay attention to what's going on. So I think Oba wins. And honestly, I think both these matches on ESPN in the first hour were very smart choices.
Yeah, I agree. The hardest part's done. The easiest part now remains. Fall from grace. 1, 2, 3. Oba wins. Demon Balor. They announced.
Wait, hold on. The other ESPN.
The other
We have the ladder match.
Penta, for the IC title. Penta, Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Rusev, and Rey Mysterio. Now, they did give you a little preview in that chaotic 10-minute tag team match that they had last night on Raw, which was very fun. I would have loved to see it go a little bit longer. Shockingly, Jason, Rusev stood tall over everybody, which is surprising because he has barely gotten television time this year in the first 4 months. So I'm going to eliminate him. He's not winning the ladder match on Sunday night. So
he was never winning the ladder match, regardless of what happened last night.
Well, whatever odds he had is now mathematically zero.
He had negative odds. That's what he had.
So he stood tall on Monday. The field in this is very fun. What's Javon Evans going to do on a ladder? What's Penta going to do on a ladder? I mean, his middle name is Ladder. Dragon Lee, his star has gotten a little brighter on Raw. He's excellent. Former tag team champion with AJ Styles. McDonough. A lot of great high flyers in this match. Rey Mysterio. What is he going to do in there, mixing up with his luchador counterparts? I want to say Penta, but my heart wants Javon Evans to win the IC title. But at the end of it all, I think Penta just won it. It would be stupid to take it off him because he's so popular. He hasn't really done anything with it. I'm going to say Penta retains.
Penta has to retain. Yeah. Penta has not had the title for very long. He's super popular. Javon is going to have his moment. I mean, Javon is still very new to Monday Night Raw. Like, he just debuted there, 3 months ago? He's still being established. He's going to win the title at some point, I'm sure. I don't want to see Penta's reign cut short just yet. Again, not that I would have an issue if Javon won, but I think Penta needs to win this, so I'm going to go with him to retain.
We got the Demon Balor against Dominic Mysterio. Now, this is not for any title. I know Dominic is still the AAA Mega Champion. Just a singles match, one-on-one.
Campeon. Come on.
Campeon, yes.
Mega Campeon.
They announced the Demon last week. Put him on the graphic and everything. I know they wanted to use this as a tactic to get interest into what's going on here, maybe sell some extra tickets. I would have waited.
Now you can get it here. The parts you need, right where you can get them on parts.tab.com. University of Phoenix feels built for real life, because it is. Some schools.
They wanted to use this as a tactic to get interest into what's going on here, maybe sell some extra tickets. I would have waited, but WWE thought otherwise. Not like it really would have mattered, but the entrance is going to fucking be great. The visual is going to be great to see the Demon come out in front of that big crowd. You would have to think that Balor's going to win this. I know they've been building this for the last couple of years, easy. This is a long time coming here.
Dude, how awful would it be
I
if
know.
you bring the Demon back after 3 years? 3 years or 4? 3 years. After 3 years.
Yeah.
The last 2 times we saw the Demon, he lost. You're going to bring him back and have him lose for a 3rd straight time?
If this was Vince, yes.
As Wade Barrett called him last week, the perhaps unbeatable Demon. I could tell that Wade Barrett doesn't pay too close attention to the product that he does commentary.
What fucking show was he watching?
I don't know. Maybe he was watching WEE instead of WWE. But yes, this will be an easy win for Demon Balor.
What's the sponsor of this match going to be? Chat says it's going to be Dude Wipes. Some people say it's going to be Fireball Whiskey.
It was a really missed opportunity for them not to send Balor out there on Raw Monday night to counteract what Pat McAfee did and say that he spoke to the Demon, and the Demon was
5,000.
Buy one, get one free.
That's the next tactic.
We're very close to what CM Punk said on Dynamite coming true from all those years ago. What he said. What is it?
Buy
one, get one extravaganza.
and buy one 4-night extravaganza or something like that.
We're getting close.
Jade Cargill, she defends the WWE Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley. This has been snooze-inducing. This is not very good. I've said my piece on this on every platform that I've been invited on, and I've talked about this. Jade and Rhea is only a match because Rhea needs a big match because they need her there, and the company's trying to position Jade in a way where she's a bigger star than she really is. Let's tell not to laugh.
Don in the chat. The demon should have raised prices by 20.
Yes.
He should have been like, I'm gonna undo what Pat McAfee did because I'm a demon, and we're gonna raise them back up 25%. Yeah, I would have popped. For that. That would have been great. Look. As far as this match goes, what they have done has been very paint by numbers, and then we saw them involve Io Sky because that was the only card for them to play. If Jade was going to try to get at someone that Rhea cared about, then Io was the one who made sense. I hate the fact that Io has basically, like what Asuka said last night is 100% true. Io is, in all of this, nothing more than Rhea's sidekick. Because she pointed out, like, you went into WrestleMania last year as the world champion, and this year you're coming in as Rhea's sidekick. I thought at first she said Rhea's side chick, but I guess both of those things can be true. But it's sad, but that's basically where we're at. And the promos and everything haven't exactly been lighting the world on fire. So my bold prediction for this, I don't think it's bold to say that I think Jade is going to retain the title. So I think Jade Cargill absolutely going to retain the championship. My bold prediction here is that we are going to get a return appearance from Bianca Belair.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else. That's what I said last week.
1 year. 1 year she's been out for. I think she's going to show up, and I think she's going to attack Io and Rhea and help Jade retain the title. Because the last time we saw her was in a match with Io and Rhea, and that fucking match cost her a year of her career. And she hasn't forgotten about that. And I think that plays into it. And so instead of going the way people probably think it's going to go, she ends up siding with Jade and helps Jade retain the title.
I like the way you think. I like that idea, but Jade has the baddies. She has Michin and BFAB, so that would be 4 on 2.
She has the baddies. There's no bigger baddie here than Bianca. Look, if you gave me the option of Bianca or BFAB and Michin, I would want Bianca in my crew. But yes, that would be 4. That's true. And I don't even know if Io necessarily would be moved over permanently to SmackDown, but I would like to see them start building to Bianca and Rhea as a match. And I don't think they're ready to take the belt off Jade just yet. You could also get to a point eventually where there is a falling out, and then you could always do Bianca and Jade. I wouldn't do it right out of the gate because there should be a better storyline explanation for why. And in this case, I think you can absolutely have one if she were to go after Rhea and Io.
That is quite the bold prediction. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna stick to my guns. I think Jade is gonna win. I think something happens at the end where Rhea gets beat down and Bianca makes a return. I just can't wrap my head around the fact that Bianca's coming back and isn't going to be the one to take the title from Jade Cargill. I think that's what they're going to stick to. Though I like your idea better because I've always said that Bianca works better as a heel, and I think she needs a heel turn. I don't know.
There you go.
But then we don't get the Jade and Bianca match.
No, you can get the Jade and Bianca match eventually.
By what? Doing Jade as a babyface?
No, by doing Bianca as a babyface. Like, you can still get there eventually if you want to still get there. But I would not be doing that right away. And I think her initially coming back, it's funny, she doesn't necessarily even have to go heel per se, because the last we saw her, like her and Jade, they didn't have any issues. They were tag team partners. I just hope that she's healthy enough to come back.
Well, they need her. They definitely need her on Friday. That division is sinking and sinking fast. Can we go into the main event? CM Punk and Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now, this has been building over several weeks coming out of the Royal Rumble. They made the match official, that Raw after the Royal Rumble. Roman took 4 weeks off. After the Chamber concluded, comes back, we start building. Started off really good, and then it's kind of, in my opinion, gone a little downhill. It's gotten a little weaker as the weeks went on. That just goes to the fact that we have a longer Wrestlemania season. If they shortened it, I think it would be a little bit more impactful. But we've seen brawls, Jason. We've seen cheap pot shots about family thrown, and, you know, the Usos were involved, and it all came to a face-to-face last night that I thought was good. But I didn't really understand the vibe they were going for. Now, I said on my end that when you look at CM Punk, he says he apologized for what he said about Sika. He loved Sika, he loved the old timers, he loved Roman's father, and
You missed the match.
I missed it. What did I miss?
Sami
Zayn. Okay, let's rewind. Sami Zayn, Trick Williams, United States title. Trick Williams is going to win the United States Championship.
Interesting. I think Sami Zayn is going to retain the United States Championship, and I think that I think it is the right call to make, provided that Sami wins the match by nefarious means. And you do, when I say double turn, this really is sort of the kickoff to a larger story. So it's not like an overnight thing, but it is really the beginnings of a double turn here. And it only works if Sami has to cheat in some way or take some sort of shortcut to win the match. I'm not saying he beats Trick clean, which would be fucking stupid. But you gotta do it that way, because you heard the reaction that he got when he came out on SmackDown on Friday night. This was not like a smattering of boos. Like, they were booing him out of the building. And when Trick comes out, Trick gets cheered, right? People love Trick, and he's very entertaining, very charismatic. So I think you don't have to do much. When I say double turn, let it happen naturally, because there isn't anything you need to really do. I think it'll sort of happen. You do that finish, Sami Zayn's going to be the most hated man on SmackDown, outside of Pat McAfee. And the people will just rally behind Trick that much more, just organically. Sami just won the belt back. I'm starting to get a little intrigued about where his kind of arc is going to go. I think you ruin it if you just take the belt off for WrestleMania. For this to work, he has to win. And then this story has to go on. So I'm picking him to win.
That's a bold one right there.
I don't know if it's that bold, but I think for that story to work the way that I have it sort of envisioned in my head, he's got to retain that title, and that will cement the heel turn for him. That will cement the boo birds for Sami Zayn, who can't understand. He said it on Friday. I can't understand why you people are booing me.
See? Dollar Shave Club just has great razors at a great price and no bull. Guaranteed growth with an annuity you can trust. Backed by American National Insurance Company.
Can't understand. He said it on Friday. I can't understand why you people are booing me. You know, what did I do to you? Okay, well, keep going with this. There's something there. And you'll get Trick that much more cheered and over by leaning into it.
Yeah, it makes sense. Sure, I just don't see the point of removing Carmelo Hayes to do all that and then not have Trick Williams win the championship at WrestleMania. Like, this is the big stage. This is your guy. This is clearly the guy that they're positioning to be the face of this brand. So
yeah, but Trick Williams, again, people are cheering Trick. I think he's trending towards babyface anyway. So yeah, Roman is here. Now he's back on the show, and Punk comes out. He's very subdued, and the first thing he does, he apologizes. The one thing that Jey Uso wanted him to do. He finally apologizes. And it felt to me like, like, Roman's back. We better be, I better apologize to this guy. I don't know, it just came off as weird to me that was not the Punk that we saw last week on the show. And so it was just a very different tone to strike, and Roman cut a Roman promo. I mean, where Roman said wasn't really any different than what we normally hear him say. Like, I hate you. And it WrestleMania, we take it back, right? We get the championship back. We bring this thing back to where it needs to be. I thought that was kind of interesting. What does he mean by we?
I just thought when it was over, I felt like we peaked at the beginning of February. You know, the first promo coming out of the Royal Rumble that we had between them was the best of all the segments that we had with these two. And not that the other segments were bad, but none of them can match, you know, that first one, that first interaction between them. It was all downhill from there. And we never really got back to that point. And because now WrestleMania is so late compared to what it used to be, they had to stretch things out. They had more television time now on the road to WrestleMania that they just ran out of ideas. Because a few weeks there, it felt like, okay, they're saying a lot of the same stuff. Yeah. I think I even said that on here on TNT. I was like, it's like they ran out of ideas on what to talk about. So then we got the pull-apart brawl, then we got another pull-apart brawl, and then we got, you know, whatever this was. And like I said before, they didn't stick the landing with this. I'm still looking forward to the match, but they never were able to recapture sort of the magic, I guess, of that first segment together. And that was, at this point, dude, that was over 2 months ago. Yeah. That's how long this is a long road that we've been on. So I wasn't a huge fan of what they did last night. I thought Punk he kind of looked like a bitch, to be honest with you. In that segment, this is how he came off to me. I think that CM Punk is going to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't like the idea of putting the belt on Roman, knowing that he will not be around. I don't care what kind of story they craft around it. If we get a bloodline reunion, which I'm hoping we don't get. Again, pie in the sky, if there's some sort of larger thing going on here and we end up with some sort of alliance. My biggest fear is Pat McAfee gets involved in this match. Him and or Randy will get involved in this match, and we end up with some sort of corporate alliance where Randy and Roman are part of the same group.
All right, listen, you made enough hot takes tonight. We don't need
I'm just saying, that's my fear. Like, that's my fear if they really want to kind of blow this thing up. But, like, it almost doesn't even matter because whatever the idea is, we know that Roman is going to be very limited, and I just don't want to be back in a situation again where, like, they were able to make it work the first time with the Bloodline because the Bloodline story was just firing on all cylinders, and you had all these other members, right? Sammy and the Usos. They were all able to sort of, you know, further that story even when Roman wasn't physically there. You don't have that now. And if he ain't going to be around, which we know he's not, he does not need to hold a championship. I just think that is counterproductive. They may not look at it that way because he's Roman Reigns, right? Of course, you want your belt on your top guy. I don't want to see that. I think Punk needs to retain this title. I think that title it's just better off being around his waist right now than it is Roman Reigns.
Well, don't you? I said this on my end last night. Don't you think that WWE might be thinking that they've done everything with CM Punk and he's wrestled everybody at a top level outside Seth Rollins again, which I'm not interested in seeing a one-on-one match for the championship because you all know Rollins is going to go through Breaker and then want the championship. Do you think that they put the belt on Roman because it offers Raw a fresh top of the card guy against different people like a Rollins and maybe a Breaker or a Gunther? Do you think that's a possibility to put the belt on Roman?
It's always a possibility.
I'm saying it's more of a possibility now than just saying Punk is going to retain the championship because I think if Punk retains the championship, there's really not many avenues to go as compared to Roman Reigns.
Well, I mean that may be so unless they push some new people up in that main event scene, you know, which they could always, you know, try to do. I mean, Punk's been champion now since what, November 1st.
Yeah.
All right, November 1st. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have more fresh matches with Roman just because he hasn't worked with all the top guys on that. They never did do that singles match with him and Braun Breaker. Him and Gunther, I mean, we got it in the final two in the Royal Rumble match. That would be one. That's not a match I would be doing, though, because either Gunther wins the title or he gets beat by Roman Reigns like everybody else. So what good does that do Gunther? I wouldn't even do that match.
If Roman, this is a long shot, but if Roman added more dates to his schedule, would you be a little bit more at ease to put the championship on?
Yeah.
If he makes television?
Yeah. I would hope to have him though on the show. It doesn't have to be every week, but you know, I would hope to have him on the show a lot more often than he is now. You know, we've gotten used to seeing Punk defend the championship on TV, which was something Roman rarely did before. So I would
wouldn't mind seeing him have a title defense on television every now and then. So if I knew that, hey, okay, guess what? He's going to be around more often now. All right, cool. Then my thought process changes on that. Because it's not that like I'm the biggest CM Punk as world champion fan. What I'm not a fan of is putting a belt back on a part-timer who's not going to be around, and we have to sit through 2.5 hours of television every single week with the top guy who's not even present on the show.
Do we see Dwayne?
No.
Okay. There you go. That's your WrestleMania preview and predictions, chat. Some bold predictions here by the Monster. You got Sami Zayn going over Trick. Bianca coming out to help Jay. Keep an eye on those, man. He may be. Well, he got Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble last year, correct? So I wouldn't doubt him.
I had a different pick, but I did say he was my dark horse.
Yes.
People weren't.
Nobody. Listen. Give yourself a little bit more credit. Nobody said Jey Uso was even a shot to win the Royal Rumble last year. Come on.
No, nobody I heard up until maybe I don't know a few days before.
Yeah,
but,
because they got it from you. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I kind of looking back on it, I kind of wish I wasn't right about that, but that's beside the point.
All starts tonight on ABC.
LeBron James and Kevin Durant are the NBA gifts that just keep on giving.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of looking back on it, I kind of wish I wasn't right about it. They didn't show up last night.
No. Thank God.
I don't remember much outside of the Cena stuff. I'm so laser focused on what they were doing with the Cena heel turn.
Alright, thank you for watching in the video. Hit that like button, leave a comment. I will do WrestleMania Night 1, Night 2 live stream on Saturday and Sunday. I'll see y'all later.